This girl was born with a special ability. Just a glance and she can see all the stats of others. But when she looked at the guy in front of her, all his stats were just question marks. Moreover, he was proficient in all the magic of this world. Strangely enough, someone as strong as him joined the Dragon Slayer Academy as a useless student. It turned out this guy's name was Kim Ho-an. He was originally a genius gamer in modern times. After just a few months, he became the strongest player in the game Dragon Slayer Academy. But instead of pushing for the top ranks, he decided to hide and become a true support player. All the resources he earned, he invested fully in potential students at the academy. And just like that, Kim Ho quickly set a record by training 1,000 S-rank heroes in 1 year. Just when he thought his journey conquering the new game was over, a new notification appeared. The game system congratulated him for reaching a legendary milestone no one had achieved before. A special mission was activated, Prevent the Apocalypse Difficulty Level EX. When Kim Ho saw these notifications, he immediately thought of X-rank heroes that required a $10,000 top-up to get one. For a broke guy like him, grinding for free, this was clearly a great deal. He just kept clicking accept rapidly without noticing the big warning below the mission. This was a reincarnation mission, and what was meant to happen did happen. Kim Ho was directly transported into the game Dragon Slayer Academy, and so a familiar scene unfolded. But after a moment to collect himself, Kim Ho realized all his skills and equipment had been completely wiped. Instead, he received a copying trait and an amplification skill at rank F. The copying part was understandable, but what was amplification? While Kim Ho was still figuring out his next move, a new notification appeared guiding him to survive for 10 minutes. Reward Dragon Slayer Academy Starter Pack. Countdown, 10 minutes begins. Kim Ho was quite optimistic since this newbie mission was mostly about fighting small monsters. But anything too normal is definitely a trap. Just as expected, Kim Ho was teleported right between two bosses fighting each other. He panicked and ran for his life. Those two bosses at the tutorial area were at extra difficulty. Gotta get away first. A red dragon's little spell, and it looks like hell right ahead. Lee Seo glanced and guessed if he got caught in it, he'd be dead before he could react. But while running, an idea popped into his little head. Wait, isn't this the perfect time to use the copying ability? The red and green dragons were chaotically fighting in the sky. Neither was backing down. And for Lee Seo to copy a trait, he needed to witness the action. More importantly, he had to identify the target's name and level. After the clash shook the sky, he reached a conclusion. This is easy now. In Lee Seo's eyes, only one target was reflected. The system immediately updated the target trait Elemental Resistance S-rank added. After copying, he barely caught his breath. Nice, got it. Didn't expect to copy an S-rank trait so early. Lucky. S-rank Elemental Resistance greatly reduces damage from all elements. As he was moving, he noticed a falling leaf in front of him. He wanted to gain another skill, but without mana nodes, he couldn't activate anything. Just stealing one S-rank trait was enough. But then, he started to doubt. Why is the wind blowing backwards? Oh man, quiet down. Thought things had calmed down, but no one said calm was cheap. Who's that dragon? Taking a deep breath, the other side's green dragon was no joke. He was determined for a life-or-death fight with the opponent. Lee Seo turned back to look, then ran for his life. Is that the breath attack, the dragon's deadliest move? Running non-stop even with elemental resistance. Looks like when bulls fight, the flies get killed. One spits fire, one spits lightning. And another is about to go up to the altar to admire the naked chicken. At this distance, I'd be dead. Boom, just like that. Lee Seo tries to escape the battlefield. The system shows the tutorial completed. Reward Dragon Slaying Academy Uniform Student Card Train Ticket Tutorial. 2. Board the train to Dragon Slaying Academy. Scene changes to the train station. The train heading to Dragon Slaying Academy. The station atmosphere is really lively. Excuse me, could the young lady please stand up for a moment? A young man holding a sword speaks to the girl in front, who is resting her head on the table. No seats left. Allow me to sit beside you. No response, he looks for the answer himself. The lady must have fallen asleep. He's planning to retreat. Sorry for waking you up, young lady, so I can move elsewhere. Before he finishes speaking, someone else walks in. No seats left. So Lee Seo, not Kim Ho, is the right one. Hearing the question, the young man with the sword hesitates to explain. Not exactly, she hasn't said anything. She's been asleep all this time, just waking up now. Kim Ho points and signals I'm sitting here. The girl agrees immediately. Okay, he replies, leaving the sword-wielding guy confused. Ignored. Thanks, I'm Kim Ho. The girl replies. Seo and Kim Ho. Please, young man, you can sit here too, right? The girl looks at the sword-wielding young man with a judging gaze. Following suit, he introduces himself. Thank you. My name is Hyongu. This young man speaks very politely, hands folded properly. Much appreciated. I almost had to stand the whole trip. I will definitely repay this favor. To Brother Kim. Kim Ho looks and judges correctly. The male lead is a martial arts hero even in the way he speaks. He also politely starts a conversation. Why are you so late? The friendly young man Hyongu answers. On the way here, I saw 2 ancient dragons. So surprised I got lost. Thinking back, Kim Ho must be sweating. Me too. Those dragons scared me nearly to death. Smoke billowing with a long whistle. They suddenly realize, it's departure time. Kim Ho begins to think. Dragon Slaying Academy. A place he has been to countless times. Whenever a new hero arrives, he knows everything inside out. Familiar to the point of boredom. But this time, there's something different. He looks at his 2 companions, silently memorizing their names. Hyongu Celine. He feels detached from everything. Silently observing all the students and teachers are faces he's never seen before. Everything feels like a slow-motion film. Each character stands out differently. He concludes, the settings may be the same, but the characters have changed meaning. Upcoming events and missions could be different. He must pay attention to what has changed. Kim Ho feels uncomfortable with the gaze from beside him. Also, the girl has been staring at him non-stop. Over here, Celine looks rather bored, not caring about anything. Celine has a special eye that turns everything she sees into stats. Looking at Hyongu, she thinks he's just average. I'm talented, you're okay. Because the guy in front of her has a familiar status window. Status Wind Heaven. Blade, Swordsmanship. D, Swordsmanship, Trait. C, Core. E, All Normal. But Kim Ho is in a different category. His status is ? Copy ? Missing ? He's special. She can't even count how many status boards look like that. Because he's special, she keeps staring, making Kim Ho more uncomfortable. He speaks up to ask, "What are you looking at all the time, little lady?" This reminds him of the advice from elders at home. If you're interested in someone, do something kind for them. She immediately pulls out her suitcase, inside which a bag of cookies stands out. Celine offers cookies. No, Kim Ho accepts and can't refuse. Thanks, did you make these? So all confirmed. Yeah, he silently praises that's not bad. Didn't expect that girl to offer only Kim Ho cookies and just let the guy beside them look. Kim Ho eats while asking, Hyongu, can I ask, is that big thing next to you a long sword? The young man confirms it really is. He proudly introduced, this is the family heirloom of our clan. Unfortunately, I'm not yet qualified to break this seal, so it remains like this. He cheerfully showed off the second black sword. Until then, this iron sword will be my companion. Don't worry, I haven't met any opponent it can't face yet. Kim Ho listened and commented, is that so? But it's better to find a more reliable weapon. Suddenly, a young man came out from somewhere and loudly called, Ahem, everyone please pay attention. I'll just stay here for a bit, is that okay? The young man, Hyongu, was always enthusiastic. No problem, make yourself comfortable. The guest laughed heartily. Ha ha, thanks a lot, just a little while. But Kim Ho found it strange he didn't hear any footsteps. It seemed like he already knew who it was. He asked, why don't you sit still and instead run around like that? The young man laughed warmly. Ha ha ha, you caught me. Actually, the kid posed and held up a business card. Just call Shin Byung Chun, the delivery service of the Dragon Slayer Academy. As long as you pay, we can get whatever you want. Can people doubt that? He confidently said, of course. Kim Ho was skeptical. Even if it violates school rules, that kid probably has experience. Just call and it's done. Kim Ho called him out immediately. So now you're being chased because of your delivery service. Shin Byung Chun looked pale. Yeah. He glanced out the glass, obviously trying to check. Is that so? Kim Ho suggested, you keep looking out the window like someone's chasing you. Behind the door, a shadow said, come out. The face pressed against the glass was terrifying, a group that looked like an equivalent of the student council. The girl leading shouted loudly, come out quickly, we know where you are. Kim Ho peeked out and examined, has the disciplinary committee arrived? Shin rubbed his head shyly and stepped out. Oh no, these students have been given power. Each one looks extremely stubborn. The disciplinary committee is responsible for maintaining order around the academy. Members of the committee are first-year students who enrolled early. Then they are promoted to manage the train like now. The angry girl leader demanded, "Return what's not yours." Shin hasn't returned it yet and just got zapped like an autonomous region being threatened by the owner coming to collect debt. Ah! Kim-ho watched the girl seriously using her ability, Lightning Mage. Rare. Does this guy also plan to steal my copying ability and still find a place to resist? Emergency prevention. The guy named Shin acted like he was deaf and fearless. Who's the bad one here? I'm really bad at close combat. The half-eaten cake in Kim-ho's hand suddenly fell to the ground. The girl wearing gloves decided, "I'll teach you a lesson." Still not giving up. "Then I'll take you down with a snap of my fingers brighter than the autonomous region." The lightning formed into a bird she threw at her opponent. Shin could only raise his hand to block and endure. Suddenly a hand reached out and grabbed the lightning bird, breaking the attack. The hand held it without a scratch. The disciplinary committee girl was stunned. There's an accomplice too. Kim-ho stepped forward to refute, "Not exactly, you just stepped on that cake on the floor, it's mine. You made me drop it." The girl's face froze. System cake notification. You have learned the hummingbird support magic. At the same time, Kim-ho spoke with irritation. "You guys made me drop my cake. The cake was delicious and you made me upset." Hearing this, Johan strained his neck to argue falsely. "Ah, no, move aside. While we're still decent, don't blame why the seawater is salty." Hyongu immediately interrupted, lightly touching his sword's hilt. "Please be more careful. If you draw your sword, I won't just sit still." The scene immediately became chaotic. The atmosphere between the two groups was extremely tense. The tension thickened until Chunhi's voice cut in to diffuse it. "Wait a moment, we'll give you a dessert discount coupon at the Academy cafeteria. How about that?" He nodded approvingly. "All right, that works." Byung-chun beside him muttered quietly, "Sir, what about me?" Kim-ho replied without hesitation, "Handle it yourself." A flash of light flickered in his eyes, followed by the system voice. "Copy skill 1-on-1, hummingbird copy attribute 1-on-1, elemental resistance S." He smirked and chuckled, "Thanks for the skill." At the same time, Chunhi kept accusing, "You stole the station worker's wig." Joking like this is a bit over the line. Kim-ho was momentarily helpless. "You really deserve a beating." Before leaving, she didn't forget to remind, "I advise you on something. Don't get involved with Shin Byung-chun." He waved goodbye. "That matter I'll decide myself. Have a good time working, Johan." He turned back, grunting coldly. "I remember your face now." As soon as the door closed, Hyongu couldn't hide his excitement and shouted, "It really is the Byung-chun Disciplinary Committee." Immediately replied, "Yeah, the elite of all elites. The one who just beat me with a hummingbird is Song Chunhi." He couldn't help but feel a bit amazed. Is that Song from the Topaz Magic Clan Byung-chun? Confirmed once again, it has to be Song. Song Chunhi is the granddaughter of Thunder Emperor Song Ki-ung-gok. He continued listing like calling out divine names. The other three can't be underestimated either. Dubai Ok is a disciple of the Fist King. Han Somi is the Sword Queen's student and the sole heir of Kim Lean. Johan's worms aren't exactly on the same level as those before. But before he could finish, Byung-chun suddenly strode quickly to the door where the others were. "It's been fun. Next time we meet, remember to say hi. Bye-bye." Hyongu couldn't help but exclaim, still full of spirit. Later, he curiously turned to Kim-ho, and Kim-hwin really showed his face over the cookie. "Really?" He shrugged lightly. "It's a rare thunder mage, so I was curious." But Hyongu was stunned, confused. "Didn't you just block a strike from Miss Song?" He suddenly asked back. "How well do you know that hummingbird move?" He carefully thought, "This is the first time I've seen it." Immediately after, Hyongu gave a quick evaluation almost too fast to follow. Instead of dealing damage, it's mainly used to disable or paralyze the target. Kim-ho nodded with obvious admiration in his eyes. "That's half right." Johan's voice broke the silence. "What about the other half?" He looked up, eyes brightening as he began to explain. "It's called a hummingbird because it mimics the way a hummingbird flies." At this, Kim-ho seriously reminded, "Depending on the user's ability, the effect will differ. You can even assess a skill by watching the bird's movements." He didn't forget to give an example. If Song Chunhi were truly experienced when I intervened, the hummingbird would have immediately veered off in another direction. Kim Ho paused briefly. But it flew straight into my hand, didn't it? Meaning her control or combat experience is still lacking. Hyongu raised his eyebrows in surprise. Just one move and so much information. He chuckled softly. Of course it's not just that. Kim Ho unconsciously calculated. She turned an E rank magic into power equivalent to D rank. Surely that's a strong attribute, or she naturally has a large mana pool. Anyway, no wonder she's the Thunder Emperor's granddaughter. She must be added to the recruitment list. Hyungu was silent for a moment, then burst out laughing. Just met, and I've already learned so much. It must be fate. He couldn't help but laugh loudly. A bit exaggerated to say fate. If you ask about these things, I'll guide you. He immediately clasped his hands, bowing respectfully. You really are generous. If you ever need help, just feel free to ask. Little brother will do his best. Kim Ho nodded, but instead of a usual thank you, he simply said, Really? Then come out here with me. Oh, but before that, can I borrow 1 silver coin? Hyungu almost itched for a moment. Immediately after, Kim Ho pulled aside the old curtain. In front of him was a broken arcade machine. Before Hyungu could ask, Kim Ho kindly explained, this train used to be a cruise ship. This area was once a casino. It's a bit messy here. Hearing this, he looked puzzled. But isn't that machine broken? He replied indifferently, probably. As soon as he inserted a coin into the machine, it surprisingly started working. Kim Ho was equally confused. Maybe not. He stared directly at the working machine. The hidden gambling machine seemed to have been broken. Kim Ho quickly pulled the lever. We have to take advantage now. Immediately, the machine spun. Finally, a bottle of water dropped. He wore a helpless expression, scare tactic. I wasn't expecting anything anyway. Hyungu couldn't hide his curiosity. Why did you come here? Kim Ho hesitated, then replied, Actually, this goes against the school's rules. The issue isn't using the machine, but the item that popped out. Seeing that he became cautious, So can I just stand and watch? Kim Ho chuckled softly. Yeah, it's fine. The disciplinary committee doesn't come here much anyway. They're probably checking somewhere else now, so no worries. At that moment, a familiar voice suddenly came from behind. Hey, what are you guys doing here? First-year disciplinary committee member Han Semi. He involuntarily shivered. Is this trouble, Cao Cao? Sister Shirt sternly reminded the students. Don't touch that. Kim Ho tilted his head slightly. Where? Violating rules costs points. Can you stall for time? Hyungu replied tensely. I'll try. I also want to try a few things. She stared at both of them, her voice slow but full of menace. Helping someone break the rules counts as breaking them yourself. You know that, right? He clasped his hands in front of him and exhaled lightly. This is my choice. As soon as he finished, Hyungu quickly drew his sword. I heard Miss Han learned swordsmanship from the Sword Queen Miss. Could I have the honor to witness her technique? Sister Shirt lightly swung her stick to block. What's your name? He quickly answered, My name is Go Hyungu. Please teach me. Hearing this, Sister Shirt dashed quickly toward Hyungu. The corners of her mouth barely lifted. All right, then. Immediately, she swung the stick powerfully at him. Seeing that Hyungu swung his sword downward, her body was pushed back. Sister Shirt quickly regained her balance. Then she ran swiftly toward Hyungu without a word. Sister Shirt wildly struck the stick down at him. Kim Ho carefully assessed, in terms of inner strength, he's weaker. His internal core still has flaws. He silently observed, but did not give up. All right, there's still a lot of potential. Using an amplifier, upgraded the internal core attribute of target E from level D to C, effect duration 0 hours, 0 minutes, 58 seconds. Cooldown 0 hours, 59 minutes, 58 seconds. Kim Ho whispered, Hold him off for a minute. Immediately, the stick and sword blades grazed each other. At the same time, the system announced effect duration 0 hours, 0 minutes, 19 seconds. Effect duration 0 hours, 0 minutes, 15 seconds on this side. Kim Ho clenched a coin, quietly glancing at the effect time 0 hours, 0 minutes, 14 seconds. Slot machines are the hallmark of casinos. Normally, no one wants to waste coins on gambling, but they don't know this machine has an insurance system called hitting the ceiling. The machine vibrates lightly, starting from 5 silver coins played. This is the 5th spin. Kim Ho held up a shiny silver coin. His eyes lit up as if he just found treasure. Here it is, another silver coin borrowed. The coin rolled into the slot. He stood tensely calculating. The machine will definitely give the highest payout on the 6th spin. Jackpot chance is 100% instantly. The dark ice sea crystal appeared, chilling to the bone. Handle with care. Warning, this item can cause death just by seeing it. Kim-ho couldn't hide his excitement. Got it. Sister Shirt suddenly lunged in. At the same time, Hyongu rushed forward. He swung his sword strongly, but it broke. Not over yet. Effect duration 0 hours, 0 minutes 1 second returned to Kim-ho. He suddenly poured a strong potion into his mouth. Enough! Sister Kin screamed sharply. Eating that triggered the system to suddenly light up. The freezing status effect was applied. He clutched his throat and coughed dryly. Right after the system screen kept announcing the freezing status effect was applied. After a while, Kim-ho nonchalantly shook the potion bottle. No problem at all. The two shouted loudly, then suddenly stuttered. What exactly was that bottle? He answered calmly without hesitation. Basically, it's a kind of elixir. Drinking it increases mana. It's the insurance item for the 6th spin, the dark ice crystal. For new players, this is a super deadly poison. Just a tiny pill is enough to turn someone into an ice statue. Of course, Kim-ho is an exception since he has an S-rank elemental resistance. Kim-ho glanced sideways. His eyes revealed clear calculation, losing Han's nature. The energy in the ice crystal will gradually grow inside me. Immediately after, Hyongu suddenly asked, Miss Han, are you okay? So Mi hesitated briefly. Not really. Kim-ho cut in, I've seen everything. Only a fool would believe that. In contrast, he burst out laughing heartily. Helping brother Kim makes me happy. Thanks to you, I got to spar with Miss Han and even received something good. He was equally excited. You've helped me a lot and even lent me a silver coin. Hyongu suddenly made a suggestion. If you don't mind, could you also show me the technique? All right, then. Hearing this, Kim-ho hurriedly tried to avoid it. Next time. It needs a time to recover and I can't reveal all my tricks now. A plan silently formed in his mind. There's still an hour left to recover, so it can't be revealed yet. Hyongu nodded knowingly. I understand. Such a powerful technique must have conditions to use it. Kim-ho replied softly, Today's still a long day. Surely there will be a time to use it. Scene shifts to a remote island. A group of people excitedly shouted, We're almost there! Prison Island, the final stop of this ship. Named after the number of prisons on the island. In the past, this place was a lawless zone teeming with criminals. Then one day a hero and the first dragon slayer set foot on the island. He wiped out all the criminals and conquered every prison, built a city and founded an academy. The Dragon Slayer Academy was born from that. Amid the quiet scenery, voices pressed against each other. First years, this way! Another person shouted loudly, warning not to go that way. Don't follow the seniors. Hyongu laughed heartily as if it was harvest time. It's so noisy. At the same time, Nari's cat suddenly scratched a female student. She screamed in fear, hold it! Kim-ho helplessly said, It's really crowded here. Just as the group was focusing on watching, Chunhi suddenly spoke up to stop them. Sorry, miss, crossing his arms with a serious face. Please come with us for a moment to the student disciplinary room. Chunhi greeted loudly, Sit down. There's only one room in the disciplinary committee. Anyone who enters will become a different person when they come out. The truth room. Sehun's voice echoed in the cold, enclosed room, colder than the air outside. I heard you took something from the slot machine. Seems like there's no problem. The scanner didn't find anything. Hearing this, Kim-ho was a bit smug. Of course, the freezing effect had worn off ages ago. He cautiously guessed it probably wasn't a forbidden item. Se-han stopped in front of the table, his eyes slightly curved downward. But Kim-ho, listen to me. I don't know if you know, but going against the disciplinary committee's orders will be punished. Ocean 3rd level head of the disciplinary committee at Dragon Slayer Academy. Later, his tone suddenly changed. His face softened noticeably. Since no one was hurt, and this is your first offense, you won't be held responsible. But I hope this will be the last time I see you here. Kim-ho clumsily stood up. Yes, sir? Sehun politely continued. All right, then, go and have a good semester. He replied once again respectfully, yes, sir. Immediately after, Kim-ho turned and left the room. Se-han sipped his tea quietly. Seems like she doesn't like him, huh? Chunhi clenched her sleeves in anger. No matter how you look at it, it's suspicious. Chunhi poured out a long analysis. If the target isn't a forbidden item, there's no reason to use the machine. She emphasized firmly, and there's no reason to destroy all the evidence on the spot either. They reasoned together. Chunhi frowned deeply. Highly likely he received an illicit skill. If we just use appraisal, we can definitely catch him. Contrary to her, Se-han appeared indifferent. Yeah, maybe. His voice dropped. Then he quietly asked, but what if we find nothing? If after appraisal there's still nothing, what do we do next? Faced with her steely words, he hesitated for a moment. About that? Chunhi immediately bowed apologetically. I'm sorry I was too hasty. Se-hun then changed his tone, speaking somewhat gently. Chunhi, I know you're enthusiastic, but in this situation we need to take our time and consider the circumstances. A moment of silence passed. He turned and smiled kindly. Just keep working. Don't be late for the enrollment ceremony now. Scene changes to the classroom. Kim Ho quickly steps forward. Thanks for saving me a seat. The system screen lights up tutorial completed. The three of you who attended the enrollment ceremony on time are rewarded with an E-rank weapon selection ticket and 5 silver coins. He glanced through the virtual notice board and smiled softly. An E-rank weapon is still better than nothing. Plus, you get back the exact amount of silver you put into the slot machine. The student square was packed with crowds. Some shouted, "There he is that the principal?" He doesn't look like much. Someone whispered, I heard he used to lead a Dragon Slayer team. Usually, the principal of the Dragon Slayer Academy is a retired hero. The hero title is only awarded to one among countless S-rank warriors. Only one. He may look like that, but inside him is a tremendous power. A student's soft voice rose in the crowd. But didn't he refuse 4 times already? Another person interjected, no 5 times. Just got rejected once more. Kim Ho smiled faintly. At the same time, the principal cleared his throat twice. Welcome, new students. We sincerely congratulate you on enrolling at the Dragon Slayer Academy. His voice echoed across the square. The Dragon Slayer Academy was established, as the name suggests, to prepare for fighting dragons and to train dragon slayers. The principal paused, seemingly weighing how much to torture the students' ears with his speech. The first hero emphasized the word slayer in the name, so you need to really understand what slayer means. If you've never killed a dragon, you can't be a dragon slayer. The principal suddenly asked, what is a slayer? Someone who hasn't slain a dragon cannot be called a dragon slayer. Kim Ho groaned softly. This is so long. The principal continued nonstop. Taking a life is the destiny and core of a monster slayer. Don't deny this truth, but ask yourself why you want to slay. Why do you want to take the life of another creature? Hopefully you will find your own answer before graduation. Then someone shouted and the crowd echoed, Stop it already! Mom, my head hurts. Whether intentionally or not, the principal kept going. I hope you all become true heroes at this Dragon Slayer Academy. That's it. Contrary to the crowd, Hyongu laughed excitedly. That was quite a meaningful speech. Kim Ho glanced at him confused. Don't you find it boring? He nodded devoutly. Boring. Every single word is priceless wisdom. My master says those kinds of teachings every day. He unconsciously broke into a sweat. Have to listen to that daily. Suddenly, a female lecturer with eyes sharp as a pencil sharpener stepped up to the podium. Attention, please. The list of banned items for this year has been updated. If anyone is caught with these items, you will be disciplined and the items confiscated. Her voice slowed as if threatening, unless otherwise notified, all new students may only take practical exams on the ground floor of the dungeon tower. If you go to lower floors without permission, your Demon Tower clan or guild will face consequences. So be careful. The lecturer glanced down through her glasses, her gaze piercing. One moment of curiosity can bring disaster. Everyone understand the rules clearly and comply to avoid punishment. The enrollment ceremony ends here. Everyone please return to the dormitory in time for dinner. Someone swallowed loudly. Is it over already? Getting straight to the point. At the same time, Bi-ung-chun shouted loudly, Let's go eat! Hyongu's eyes went wide. Brother, what's wrong with your mom? He laughed heartily. This just a small accident. Suddenly, Bi-ung-chun raised his voice to remind, Make sure to eat enough. He couldn't help but feel a bit suspicious. Why? Bi-ung-chun quickly explained, Tomorrow is the first day of class. It's a big event. That evening at the boys' dorm, Hyongu excitedly peeked out. Lucky us. Our rooms are next to each other. What a coincidence, or what? Kim Ho casually teased, I'm not that good. You laughed awkwardly. Good night, Kim Hyung. Inside, he wearily walked straight to his room. There's no way I can sleep now. Kim Ho quickly hung his uniform in the corner of the closet. Immediately after, he got on the bed and assumed a meditation posture. Since I have free time like this. Kim Ho sat up straight. A mystical blue light emanated from his whole body. I have to create a core to be able to use any skill. Whether it's magic or internal energy, there must be a source of power. That is the role of the core. He suddenly opened his eyes. Maybe this is my first time trying this outside the game, but I already know what to do. I've absorbed the ice crystal, so I have enough mana. I can do it. Meanwhile, in Go Hyungu's room, he was meditating intensely. Han So-mi is the strongest opponent I've faced since coming down the mountain. Although both of us held back during the fight, if we had both gone all out, the result would have been hard to predict. If it weren't for Kim Ho's support, I could have been defeated as soon as the steel sword broke. Master is the term Hyongu used to describe Kim Ho. From the first meeting, his calmness is something only a strong person possesses. His clear eyes seem to see through everything. Thinking of this, he glanced at the sword. Should I ask him for help? And that thought was immediately shut down by Hyongu. No, I can't. He's my first friend. He returned to his meditation posture. The corners of his mouth unconsciously curved up. I'll do my best on my own. The next day, at the temporary classroom, the group of students gathered fully. Duyen came in from outside, beckoning weakly. Sorry. Hyungu's eyes immediately lit up. You're here. I was worried the young lady had overslept. Kim Ho commented, she probably did oversleep. One of the students looked up at the podium in confusion. Where's the teacher? The person next to him replied indifferently, Don't know. Kim Ho couldn't help but sigh. The bell rang, but the teacher still hasn't shown up. I don't even know who the homeroom teacher is. How careless. A figure passed by the female student, then turned back to the students' faces, which suddenly changed color. Soo-Doc glanced around the class with a tone as deep as a sigh from hell. Judging by your faces, I must be pretty famous, huh? Nice to meet you all. I will be your homeroom teacher this year. My name is Ly Soo-Doc. Then the teacher suddenly pointed at a female student. Hey you, what do you all call me? She nervously replied, Crime Hunter, sir. Soo-Doc immediately denied, no, it has 2 words. The female student trembled and answered, Butcher, sir. Kim Ho slightly frowned. So, that's him. In the world of Satlong Academy, there are more superhumans who have surpassed human limits than grains of sand. Among them are those who use their power for twisted desires. Criminals are an indispensable bunch. Ly Soo-Doc's duty is to hunt down and capture these criminals. The nickname Butcher means he has killed more criminals than the number he has captured alive. The teacher looked at the students with sharp eyes. I didn't want to be here either, but I promised the principal. I have never failed a mission. After a breath, Soo-Doc continued in a cold tone, so I hope you guys won't mess up my record. I'd rather kill you than let you fail. The teacher quickly wrote on the blackboard and returned to the main topic. I will explain how the scoring works. The director announced sternly the theory test accounts for 30% of the grade consciousness counts for 10%. Just breathe and avoid causing trouble for many. This is basically free points. However, consciousness points can drop below 0% and drag all other points down. The teacher paused, emphasizing, I'll be watching you troublemakers, you never know. Maybe we'll meet again after graduation. Soo-Doc continued announcing the next grades, the most important part, the practical test. The practical test is divided into dungeon conquest, where you have to go through each floor one by one. The teacher's voice was steady with invisible pressure, and duel where students face each other. Points will be accumulated. In other words, you have to perform better than the person next to you. At this point, the chairman struck the blackboard loudly. Conquest and duel, each count for 30% of the total score. Any questions? Seems not, then let's head to the arena. Outside, a male and female fiercely fought amid a tense atmosphere. Soo-Doc loudly declared it's time for the ranking test. Byung-chun excitedly shouted, All right, this is a big deal! Hyongu suddenly woke up, so this is what you were talking about yesterday to prepare the students for any situation. The duel rules change every time. The duel rule for today's classification test is deathmatch. The fight will not end until one side is completely exhausted, unable to fight ready or surrenders. The limit is 5 minutes. If no one wins, it will be considered a draw. Byung-chun interrupted to explain further. Each person will fight 3 random students and receive points based on the number of wins, 300 points per win. Hyongu tilted his head toward Kim Ho. What about a draw or a loss? He quickly replied, no points, but no points will be deducted either. Suddenly, the system screen appeared before Kim Ho's side mission of the ranking test. The goal is to rank above average in the test, win at least one duel, and not be ranked in the top 50%. The current dungeon conquest rank has no support skill rewards, just 1 slot open. He calculated carefully, so I only need to win 1 duel and do moderately well in the conquest. But the important thing right now is something else. Thinking of this, Kim Ho looked toward Chunhi. The ranking test is the perfect time to learn about other students' abilities. An opportunity for talented ones to train to S-rank or remember students with skills or traits worth copying. After a while, the director announced over the loudspeaker, Kim Ho Hong Eon, Va, please come up. Hyongu immediately cheered Kim, do your best. At once, Eon Va and Kim Ho appeared simultaneously on the stage. He carefully observed the opponent. The rival was Ruby Tower. Ruby Tower specializes in fire magic, famous for high firepower and excellent area control. It's my #1 choice in the game. Kim Ho unconsciously laughed, sorry, but play with me for 5 minutes. Eon. Va stood in the arena, her sharp eyes scanning Kim Ho. A burning determination echoed in her mind. I have to make a name for myself. To do that, I have to take down a well-known person. Kim Ho had never heard the name before. Eon Hava's eyes suddenly flicked quickly to his hands. What weapon is that? Even a novice mage would laugh at that level E Earth Staff. That's an Earth Staff level E, slightly boosting Earth magic and protective magic. She carefully analyzed, definitely not from the level 6 tower, and doesn't look like an Earth mage. That means he only uses that staff to support protective magic. The length of the staff shows he prioritizes power over mobility. At the same time, Master Zhu loudly counted down 3, 2, 1. Hearing this, Eon Va quickly raised her magic staff high, basically just a support mage standing still. At the same time, the master shouted, begin. She immediately unleashed a burst skill. Eon Va silently vowed, I will finish this with a flash move. Witnessing the rare scene, the students began to discuss, did you see? The spell didn't even flash. Another answered right, that's Ruby Tower. Eon Va's face suddenly changed color. The system announced scores Hong Eon Va 100%, Kim Ho 100%. She almost couldn't believe her eyes, no way. I didn't expect a one-hit win, but like this, Kim Ho steadily approached Eon Va. She unconsciously felt fear can't do anything at all. The large screen displayed the score Hong Eon Va vs Kim Ho 100%. The two were currently tied, and I entered the dust cloud on the arena floor. Eon Va frowned, wondering no effect at all. Is he using a magic shield? Then she aimed the staff straight at him while creating a barrier with her other hand. If that's the case, then what Kim Ho coldly watched, the fixed move, a magic shield, won't stop me. Looking at the barrier surrounding her, he thought to try moving. Just one opening and I'll shoot immediately. Noticing something unusual, Eon Va immediately doubted. What's this? His calm demeanor made her wonder why he was just standing there. He seemed so nonchalant, as if looking down on her. Confident like that, Eon Va released a powerful force from the orb on her staff and shouted, then try blocking this move. Flame Pillar. The fire flies forward. Kim Ho slightly frowns, then a blazing column of fire engulfs his body. The people in the stands were also affected by that tremendous power. Some murmured, truly the caliber of the ruby. Suddenly, Eon Va's face froze, seeing Kim Ho still standing firm after the violent attack. She thought in amazement, did he just take a hit from the future Ruby Tower Master without getting hurt? Eon Va thought to herself, at this rate, I'll have to use my trump card. At that moment, Kim Ho quietly released a blue light that blinded the eyes. When it flew near, Eon Va was surprised to recognize it was a hummingbird. The bird flew at a terrifying speed straight towards her. Luckily, Eon Va immediately dodged. Before she could recover, it turned sharply and slammed into her back, causing her to cry out in pain. At this time, the big screen displayed the text that the paralysis status effect was applied in the arena. Eon Va sat down heavily, surrounded by flashes of electricity enveloping her body. Kim Ho coldly spoke up, let's end this here. He looked at Eon Va with concern and kindly reminded him to save his trump card for later matches. Given her miserable state, his words sounded more like mockery. Think about the bigger picture. Right after the big screen announced the scores, Hong Eon-hwa lost vs Kim Ho won. The audience was surprised and exclaimed, "Wow, Hong Eon-hwa lost. How come he didn't lose any HP? Who is he? Doesn't look like he's from the genius group. Can't figure out who he is. What the heck?" Hearing that Kim Ho worriedly thought he was getting more attention than expected, so he had to be careful. Just as he thought that the host threw cold water on him. Next, Kim Ho's face darkened as he sighed again. No mercy at all. The next name called was Song Joon-hee. The students couldn't help but be surprised and whispered among themselves, "Huh? Song Joon-hee from the Golden Tower, right? Yeah, I heard he joined the Disciplinary committee as soon as he enrolled." Then Chunhi stepped out with a blazing body and eyes full of readiness. She carefully put on gloves. Facing her is definitely lucky. "I have something to confirm with you." Kim Ho remained silent after hearing that, just looking at her without replying. Then, without hesitation, he turned to the judge and said, "I surrender." Chunhi angrily exclaimed, "What?" Teacher Lee Soo-duk frowned and asked why. Kim Ho rubbed the back of his neck, closed one eye, and said, "I'm not in the best condition. If I fight again today, it'll be really tough for me." Lee Soo-duk asked, puzzled, "Isn't getting more points better?" He asked once more to confirm, "So you really want to give up?" Without hesitation, he answered, "Yes, I can't continue." Ignoring the hand clenching and trembling slightly with anger, he calmly added, "I'm also forfeiting the third match." Seeing he couldn't be stopped, Lee Soo-duk immediately agreed, "All right, I'll count this as a loss." Chunhi then mocked him as pathetic, ready to fight. She stood determined, saying her grandfather always told her not to hesitate, even when the situation is unfavorable, and to fight to the end to reach the top. Hearing this, Kim Ho was startled, realizing the girl must be the Thunder Emperor's grandchild, right? Like grandfather, like granddaughter. He could see the Thunder Emperor's strong spirit in her resolute expression. For a competitive hero, it made sense, but had nothing to do with him. Thinking that, he turned his back, waved his hand, and left behind Chun-hee's stunned look. "Yeah, probably not for me, consider it your win." She also turned her back on him with a look of disdain, truly disappointing. "I must be a fool to expect anything from you." Suddenly he said, "Oh, right." She immediately turned back and asked what Kim Ho said casually. "Didn't you say you'd give me a blank vote?" His words made Song Joon-hee laugh angrily. "I'm still waiting." Then teacher Lee Soo-duk spoke next up, is Song Joon-hee. Just as he appeared, he laughed loudly without holding back. "Is he really from the Golden Tower?" The laughter abruptly stopped. "Hey, are you ready?" Lee Soo-duk shouted loudly to start. Immediately, a massive force shot forward like an arrow and headed straight for Ji Hun. Moments later, the large screen displayed the scores again. Song Chun-hee, 100%, vs. Ji Hun, 0%. On the battlefield stood her cold, composed figure. Byung-chun asked in astonishment. She already has her eyes on him. Kim Ho beside him replied nonchalantly, "Probably just look at the doctors carrying his body away." Byung-chun breathed a sigh of relief. Good thing he surrendered before turning into grilled meat. Meanwhile, below the arena, Song Chun-hee threw him an angry glare as if about to lose her mind. Byung-chun, immediately worried, glanced at him and asked, "Did you see that expression just now?" Beside Byung-chun, the admiration didn't stop. No wonder she's the granddaughter of the Thunder Emperor. What a fierce start. Kim Ho now smiled with satisfaction. "All right, now I just need to win." Above them, a few confused students whispered to each other. "Oh my God, who gives up during a ranking test?" Maybe they're scared because the opponent is Song Joon-hee. Was winning against Hong Yeon-hwa just luck? He's probably just a worthless coward. All these thoughts caught Kim Ho's sharp eye. Kim Ho told himself it wasn't worth noting, but defeating Hong Yeon-hwa from the Ruby Tower was exactly the kind of reputation he wanted. After a while, teacher Lee Soo-duk's voice rang out again. "Oh, next up is Chun-hee." Byung-chun looked at the notebook in his hand and was surprised. "Oh, next again. Who's the unlucky opponent?" Along with careful preparation, she stepped out at the teacher's call. Seeing her appearance, Byung-chun was surprised, Royal Guards. That's a surprise. Kim Ho also noticed her right. I just found out too. On Song Chun-hee's cold face, voices of admiration echoed, "This is getting interesting." Royal Guards are natural rivals of mages. It wouldn't be surprising if Song Chun-hee lost this match. Kim Ho's eyes lit up in rebuttal. Who knows, we'll have to see. Byung-chun objected, "No way. A safe-playing Royal Guard can't lose." He turned and raised his hand, betting 0.5 silver coins. Byung-chun immediately agreed. A scoreboard appeared: Song Joon-hee 100% vs Selzen 100%. Below were Song Joon-hee's sharp eyes and Selzen's calm expression. The signal sounded to start. Selzen immediately fired bullets at the opponent. Without expending much effort, with one move, Song Joon-hee stopped the bullets mid-air. They stopped just before reaching her. Byung-chun in the stands said regretfully, blocked. Kim-ho remained as calm as he thought he would. Watching her attacks, it wasn't hard for him to tell that Song Joon-hee's monopool was much larger. His E-rank hummingbird move must be equivalent to a D rank. Opposite, Selzen kept firing back without stopping. Selzen quickly dodged 2 surprise attacks from Song Joon-hee. Suddenly, Song Joon-hee twisted her finger slightly, and a bird shot swiftly toward Selzen. Unable to react in time, she was roughly grazed across the cheek. Then Song Joon-hee's electricity paralyzed her body. Byung-chun took notes in his book while regretting, wow, if that had hit, the match would have ended. Kim-ho didn't think so. He said she dodged it, but her movements had slowed down. Looking at Song Joon-hee's calm demeanor on the battlefield after the electric shock, the next attack would definitely hit. Just as I thought, Song Joon-hee won't win easily. At that moment, a quick hand pulled something from Selzen's side, pulled the pin, and threw it at the opponent. It immediately flew toward her and emitted thick smoke. Kim-ho exclaimed in surprise, smoke bomb. Byung-chun got excited. He jotted down in his evaluation notebook, exactly right. A normal smoke bomb would have been stopped. Amid Song Joon-hee's panic, his voice rang with delight. Now the situation has changed. This is where the royal guards shine. Thick smoke quickly covered the arena. Just as Song Joon-hee was dazed, a strong blow hit her from behind. Looking at the protective shield behind her, gritting her teeth, she thought, I managed to block it with the shield, but the shock still made me lose balance. Observing the surroundings, she silently thought, at this rate, I'm in danger. In the stands, Byung-chun was delighted. That girl must be really rich. A freshman already has an invisibility cloak. Selzen's gun caught his attention. Switching to a sniper rifle was smart. A bullet whizzed past, but Song Joon-hee quickly dodged. Right after, when she turned back, Selzen had vanished. At that moment, the big screen displayed the scores: Song Joon-hee, 85%, Selzen, 88%. Remaining time, 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Keeping a sharp eye on every movement around Song Joon-hee, reminded herself, I can't just keep defending. At this moment, Seo-jin silently aimed his gun at her back. A bullet flew straight at Song Joon-hee's head, but luckily the shield she created blocked it. She told herself she had to predict the bullet's mana trajectory. Along with another bullet just hitting the shield, she thought, right now. Without hesitation, she immediately spun around. Right after Song Joon-hee spotted Selzen's position, an attack rushed forward. Selzen quickly flew up to dodge it. Seeing her, Song Joon-hee instantly regained confidence. Found you. Watching the electric current rushing toward Seo-jin's neck, Chunhi sneered, no more dodging, huh? The electric current running through his body tightened every muscle. He let out a painful cry. At this moment, the system board showed the scores: Song Joon-hee, 85%, Seo-jin, 68%. Time remaining 0 minutes, 0 seconds. On the arena floor, Seo-jin was officially defeated. The smoke gradually dissipated. Kim-ho was calm as always. Byung-chun beside him was stunned, running his hands through his hair. Really lost. With Chunhi's confident demeanor, he realized no freshman could compare to her. The announcement board appeared: Chunhi wins Selzen loses. His gaze shifted to Selzen. She was slowly getting up. But holding out against Chunhi is impressive. Byung-chun whispered in his ear, here's 5 silver coins. 5 silver coins as promised. Suddenly he said to him, wait, how about one more round? Men have to do 3 rounds. Kim-ho frowned, reminding him, are you addicted to gambling? Once is enough. He looked toward the person on the arena floor and said, hey, look over here, there's some energy. He changed his mind because Hyongu's next opponent was a muscular man standing right opposite. Byung-chun introduced, disciple of Fist King Do-bai-ok. He turned to him and asked, who are you betting on? Kim-ho thought for a moment, then slowly said, let's see, probably the disciple of the Fist King. Hearing his decision, Byung-chun said, then I'll bet on the other side. On the same side, that's ruthless. He showed no expression, calm voice. I'm just telling the truth. I never said Hyongu would lose. Byung-chun was confused. What do you mean by that? Kim Ho smiled lightly. Just wait and see. Go Hyongu looked up to the stands and immediately recognized Kim Huynh watching him. Drawing the sword at his side, he silently resolved, I have to perform my best. But it won't be easy. Seeing this, Bai-ok asked, Why not draw the sword on your back? He replied, Unfortunately, it's not the right time yet. He reminded again, Unfortunately, Bai-ok stared coldly at him. I won't hold back. Hyongu lowered his voice and said, Nor will I. The big screen showed the scores Go Hyongu 100% versus Do Bai-ok 100%. Along with that, the command to start came immediately. Do Bai-ok dashed forward with a flurry of attacks. Seeing his confident stance, he marveled, Truly the disciple of the Fist King. One unnecessary move, one punch, sent him reeling back in shock. His body felt weightless as he kept flying backward. Hyongu angrily thought, even after bracing for the impact, I was still pushed back this far. Can't use basic moves. Seeing Bai-ok rushing like a punching bag, a thought sparked. Fine then. Hyongu lightly stroked his sword, telling himself, I'll finish this with a Than-Lu strike. Immediately, two opposing forces clashed head-on. Bai-ok just brushed past his sword but couldn't withstand it and instantly shattered into pieces. The sword shards flew all over the air. Seeing this, he was disappointed. Looks like I can't continue anymore. I surrender. Bai-ok lightly touched the torn part of his shirt. I'll look forward to the next encounter. The results were announced. Go Hyongu lost, Do Bai-ok won. Kim Ho quietly exclaimed, just as I thought, the iron sword is unbearable. He recalled a memory he had suspected since seeing it on the ship. He really used the iron sword like a consumable item. Byung-chun was extremely shocked at this moment. He held his head in disbelief and exclaimed, No way! You guessed this too. A hand quietly grabbed his shoulder. You're flattering me. Kim Ho smiled kindly and then laughed. Byung-chun shyly replied, I'm out of money now. He wasn't angry at all, instead suggesting a way without necessarily paying with money. Hearing that, Byung-chun asked happily, Really? Then with what? Kim Ho stood up and said, Trade the information you have. At that moment outside the building, Teacher Lee Soo-dok's voice was heard. After lunch, we will continue with the concentrated raid test at the dungeon hall. Don't be late. Dismissed. On the green grass, students were resting after a strenuous battle. Some sat together with a shy atmosphere waiting for the raid. Pretty intense. Some were intently enjoying their food. Oh, this is delicious. On this side, Kim Ho's group was also calmly resting. Byung-chun chewed while continuing the conversation, glancing as if wanting to know something. Kim Ho, annoyed, told them and then went off overwhelmed. After a while, Byung-chun asked, Sorry, what information do you need? Kim Ho replied, Tell me about the highlights of the 4 main factions. He immediately agreed with him. All right, this info is already floating around. The 4 main factions on the Discipline Committee of the Satlong Academy also have 4 major martial arts factions. The Ming Alliance Guild, the Magic Society, the Knights Corps. Leading these factions is the grandson of Sword Emperor Moi, Mr. Hui Sung. The Ming Moi martial arts, Mr. Jun, succeeds the Ruby Tower Master. The Magic Society. Honggi-an HVKA. The Ming Alliance Druids Park. Nari, who always has a cat on her shoulder and a promising member hiding her true strength. One last thing, the son of the great sword master of the Knights Corps, Lee Seung-hyeon. After flipping through the notes, these are exceptionally strong people. After hearing this, Kim Ho exclaimed, Impressive indeed. Suddenly, Byung-chun looked around and asked, Hey, where did Hyongu go? Bah. Looking at his phone screen, he exclaimed in surprise, The club president completely forgot. He crossed his legs and ran off quickly, not forgetting to say, Goodbye, I'm leaving first. Sorry, Kim Ho replied helplessly. Yeah, see you later. So rushed. Now it was just him and Ren left. The atmosphere suddenly froze. Looking at the girl diligently biting each piece of bread, he thought inwardly, maybe it's because she was the first person I connected with in this world. I can't just sit still and watch her lose spirit. Thinking that, he called out, Hey, the cookie I dropped on the ship yesterday. Kim Ho swiped the system screen. Song Chunhi had already sent a dessert ticket. Since it's your cookie, I'll share it with you. He brought over a blueberry pie and cheerfully ate together. Duyan softly replied, Thank you. While eating, Ren suddenly said, "Hey, you." Kim Ho tilted his head in confusion. Yeah, there were still a few crumbs on her lips. She seriously asked, "Do you think I already lost to Chunhi?" Hearing that, Kim Ho sighed and replied, "Unrefined mana bullets can't penetrate the mana barrier. A mage with a larger mana pool obviously has an advantage." Seeing Ren's puzzled face, Kim Ho held out a bullet in front of her, but mana bullets that are enhanced tell a different story. Duyen asked confusedly, "Mana training? Why haven't I had to do that yet?" Kim Ho was startled and asked, Don't tell me you've never tried." She replied, "Never." His next question left her stunned. "Then how have you created mana bullets until now?" Kim Ho asked in surprise. "You've never created mana bullets before?" Without hesitation, Duyen answered, "Yeah, never. Not at all." Kim Ho stared at her and then exclaimed, "A genius! Mana bullets should be a basic skill for every royal guard." Seeing Ren's innocent face, countless questions arose in his mind. So she's been fighting purely on instinct all this time, and even managed to make Chunhi struggle in a duel without knowing how to train mana. And if that's the case, after pondering for a moment, "If you don't mind, let me see your skill." Ren replied, "Okay." He encouraged her confidently. Training mana and learning skills will make things much easier. The bell rang, so let's go. Teacher Lai Budok's voice rang out. "It's time for the ranking test at the dungeon hall." Lai Budok stood before 3 gates and said, "Everyone is here now. I will explain the challenge in the dungeon." The teacher looked serious as he addressed the students lined up and stated the rules. "The test will be conducted in the dungeon gates behind me. Fog stop. The rule limits 10 minutes for scoring in a fixed area. This dungeon has 2 special rules. First is the scoring rule. With 10 minutes remaining, you will receive points based on how many monsters you defeat in those 10 minutes. The goal is to kill as many monsters as possible. Second, the fixed area is a locked zone. Status ranks affected by skills and traits will be fixed at rank F. Budok carefully warned everyone, "Don't forget your cores will also be downgraded in rank, so be careful. If you're careless or can't manage your mana, you will regret it." I will start calling names one by one. Those at the front after finishing the test lay on the ground groaning. Their bodies trembled continuously. Seeing this, a thought crossed my mind. Really? Is fate really this cruel? It's a disaster indeed. Budok glanced at the few who seemed competent beside him. Only in a small corner, Han Somi's group had excellently completed the test, with an amazing score of 928 points, rank 1 530 points, top 20%. Seeing so few people pass, Budok sighed inwardly. Just these 2, and already my head aches. Hearing the quiet call for the next group, 2 names were called up to Sail Ren. Kim Ho suddenly grabbed her hand. "Sail Ren, for this challenge, use the rifle." Ren obediently listened without hesitation. "Right. Got it." In the distance, Chunhi was shooting a bullet-like glance at the 2. Then Kim Ho gently reminded Ren, if managing mana is too hard, just aim at the head when enemies get close. She obediently replied calmly, "Okay." Chunhi thought confusedly, "He's not even using a gun. Why is he giving advice?" Before entering the gate, he didn't forget to wave at her. "See you later." Entering the fixed area, looking around, Kim Ho guessed fog stop. It's been a while. Adjusting skill level, trait, and equipment. He touched the system screen to see where this is time to start. At the same time, the test screen displayed 10 minutes remaining. In front of him, a blue monster was rushing toward him. At that moment, the clock began counting down 9 minutes, 59 seconds left. The monster dashed straight into the tree root before him. Swinging his sword in the perfect arc, he pushed it back. In the foggy forest, monsters appear randomly as you enter. His eyes constantly scanned the slightest movements in the forest, but there were still some familiar attack patterns. Based on where that goblin appeared, it was type C. Without hesitation, Kim Ho swung his knife in one direction, meaning the next one would come from there. Just as he predicted, the blade flew straight into the monster, trying to jump out, stabbing it right in the eye socket. The monster fell backward onto the ground, making a resounding sound. He breathed a sigh of relief. No need to use the staff anymore. Axe in one hand, knife in the other, he was confident. Weapons were scattered here, so he borrowed from the orcs and goblins. Kim Ho stepped toward the monsters gathering to attack. He imagined the test like a game and confidently carried the axe. Now let's score some points. As he finished, fierce screams echoed through the quiet forest, blood splattering like water, dyeing the whole area red. After a while, the monsters looked at him with somewhat fearful eyes. At the same time, the screen showed 7 minutes, 2 seconds remaining. Kim Ho immediately locked their positions, thinking to himself, two of the bulls from the edge slowly can't let them be recorded. He casually threw the knife in his hand toward the bulls and smoothly swiped the system screen. Almost forgot if it records how I move and hunt, that could cause misunderstandings, must delete it. Looking at the screen content, he sighed. 683 points in 3 minutes. Current score 683 points. I really killed a lot. Kim Ho touched the screen and thought, plus I finished all the side missions too. The goal is to achieve a high average score on the test, win at least one match in one-on-one combat rank in the top 50% in the dungeon challenge. Current rank has no reward, empty copy slot, +1 is just more noticeable. Standing in front of the gate, he silently thought to stop here and leave. As soon as he stepped out, he immediately saw Selena, her body so worn out it was unimaginable. Her results also appeared shortly after, 781 points, top 21%. Kim Ho approached and asked how it went. Was it okay? She sighed and said she was insanely tired. Noticing Teacher Lai Budok's gaze, he asked worriedly, Ren, are you tired? Your score isn't bad either. Budok frowned, thinking this kid didn't give up during the duel, did he? Didn't even bother to last the full 10 minutes, probably planning to drop out early. Budok looked at him with disdain and wondered, with such weak willpower, what kind of dragon hunting is he even thinking about? Wait. Looking at his results. The teacher was surprised. Average rank, and he got that many points in such a short time. Kim Ho scored 683 points, 38%. Has there ever been a case like this before? The teacher's gaze towards him had completely changed. Teacher Udok thought to himself, Kim Ho, I have to find out more. Then the teacher called the next new name, Go Hyongu. Kim Ho reminded him to be careful. Hyongu turned his head and replied, I'll be back soon. Looking at the top 3 results on the board, the thought appeared, that's Lee Sang-hyun, son of the great swordsman. Lee Sang-hyun scored 951 points, rank 1. Han So-mi, 928 points, rank 2. Mo Yeon-jun, 903 points, rank 3. And Mo Yeon-jun is the grandson of Swordmaster, right? Budok silently compared, if top-tier opponent Han So-mi is like that, then Go Hyongu must be something special too. Shortly after the rankings were updated, Budok sighed inwardly, just as I thought. Go Hyongu scored 1023 points, rank 1. Lee Sang-hyun, 951 points, rank 2. Han Seung-yeon, 928 points, rank 3. Moon Jong-jun, 903 points, rank 4, rank. Truly rank 1. As Hyongu stepped out, whispers and chatter rose around. Is that the guy from that group? No wonder he did so well earlier. 1,000 points was always possible, huh? Kim Ho immediately stepped forward with a big smile. Well done, Hyongu. Replying politely, Brother Kim, it's all thanks to you. He warmly extended his hand to him and respectfully said, Let me rest after the duel exam. It helped me gain a lot of points. Kim Ho shyly replied, You're too kind. Seeing their closeness, the guy behind grew jealous. What's up with that guy? Clinging to the top rank like a coward, huh? Someone else joined in. Isn't he the one who gave up the duel exam? Hearing this, Hyongu angrily shouted. He quickly stopped him. It's okay, just ignore it. He turned away in frustration, but Brother Kim hurried to reassure him. I said it's fine. Hyongu sighed and lowered his voice. All right, if Brother Kim wants it that way. Kim Ho asked, Are you done already? Hyongu glanced at the results board, but still hadn't seen Lady Chunhi's results. Seeing no movement at the door, he wondered, Wait, it's not done yet. Inside, she was surrounded by a massive horde of monsters. Chunhi swung her sword and said, This is nothing. Suddenly she gasped. What? Looking at the monsters, she was only a little irritated. She thought in shock she knew her strength would decrease, but it would only be a slight delay in effectiveness. At that moment, Kim Ho's advice to Dien echoed in her mind, if controlling mana is too hard, just aim for the heads of the monsters close by. She realized with surprise that Chunhi clenched her fists tightly, thinking, So frustrating, his advice just pops into my head. With limited mana, wide area skills can't even work. She followed his advice and unleashed a critical strike, aiming straight at a weak, cursed spot to ensure a kill. Just then, as she stepped out, her results finally appeared. Chunhi, 571 points, top 47%. Seeing her poor result, she blushed and thought, Why did it show already? Her score wasn't good at all. She felt truly embarrassed. At this point, Teacher Budok announced the ranking exam was over. Results would be announced tomorrow. Rest well and don't come in last, understood. Then the teacher decisively turned and dispersed everyone, moving to another room. A cheerful voice sounded, "Yes, please come in." Then a startled voice. Teacher Lai Sudok, why are you here?" Teacher Sudok leaned on the table and said firmly, "I want to see Kim Ho's dungeon challenge in class 1-3. "Oh, you're interested in a student? That's really rare." Budok lowered his voice, his expression becoming serious. "No time for small talk, show me the recording." The teacher immediately replied anxiously, "Yes, let me check." Looking at the screen, the teacher sighed. Kim Ho's replay wasn't saved, so it can't be viewed. Budok asked expectantly, "What about the dungeon notes?" The supervising teacher hesitated. "That would be in the access log for this matter." Teacher Lai Budok was shocked to realize he was right. This kid, Kim Ho from the Misty Forest, deliberately deleted the recording. Looking at the score sheet, he suspected that at this rate, he could easily reach 2,000 points in 10 minutes. Kim Ho stopped the mist at 13:31:02 to 13:34:28, 638 points, 38%. Why is he hiding his real strength? Don't tell me you're worried about calculations now. In the Dragon Slaying Academy, the more teammates there are, the more enemies they attract, servants of the dragon sect, tools of the evil god. If any of them infiltrate the academy, we'd better prepare countermeasures. At this moment, the teacher noticed something unusual and asked if they should report it to the principal. Budok hesitated suddenly, but after thinking it over decisively replied, "No, just keep monitoring for now. If information leaks without evidence, they'll hide even more carefully." He turned away, eyes still fixed on the information about you on the screen. "If it really is a threat, its fangs will soon be revealed. For now, just keep watching." On the screen appeared a clear photo of you, Kim Ho, at 3:27 p.m. at the Dragon Slaying Academy cafeteria. Kim Ho approached the counter and called out, "1 cup of coffee, please?" Hyongu heard this and chimed in, "I'm also interested in this thing called coffee charm." Next to him, looking dejected, I left first. Seeing her tired appearance, he didn't hold her back. "Then we'll stay here a little longer." Setting the coffee cup down, he said to Hyongu, "Let's check out the list we were given at the end of class." He replied, You mean that thin book?" Looking at the pages before me, I still don't fully understand what's written here. Kim Ho encouraged him, "That's why we need coffee to see what's important today." He gently reminded, "First, check your student card." On the card, it clearly says, "Go Hyongu class 1-3, score 3.069. He said, surprised, "Oh, this score wasn't here before." Kim Ho explained, "That number is the points you can use. Go Hyongu class 1-3, 3.069 points is the currency used in the Dragon Slaying Academy." He held up a page and pointed to the content. "Usually earned from dungeon expeditions like the one just now, you can use it to buy items or access facilities. Now there's something that needs your points the most." Tossing the book on the table. "You probably saw the notice about recording right before leaving the dungeon." Hyongu startled, replying, "That's right." Kim Ho excitedly introduced, "Now you can buy replays." In front of him appeared a purchased item deducting 100 points for someone else's replay. Looking at the interesting orb before him, he immediately recognized this was Han Semi's conquest process. At that moment, he remembered something. Since you ranked first, many people must have bought your replays crazy amounts. Just as he finished speaking, the screen kept showing items sold to Hyongu, a dungeon ranking contest, 928 points replay, plus 100 points, plus 100 points, plus 100 points. Seeing those numbers continuously appear, he exclaimed, "It really keeps increasing." Hyongu suddenly worried, "But having your replay sold like this isn't good." Kim Ho sighed. "Yeah, they'll try to find every little weakness and counterattack method." He breathed out, relieved. "Luckily, this was an individual contest, so you can focus on the top ranks. But in direct combat, including mana fights, your weak core will be immediately exposed." He explained loudly, "However, that risk is worth it. We can use this to get into the mana training room at the training center." In his mind appeared a body structure with abundant mana. The most important facility there is the special mana room. Mana there is denser than usual, so inner strength increases very quickly. Hearing this, Hyongu jumped up and asked, "Is there really a place like that?" Kim Ho replied without hesitation, "Of course, but you need to meet certain requirements to enter." His tone suddenly softened. "That must cost a lot of points, right?" Kim Ho replied, "Yeah, deduct 500 points every 6 hours." Brother Gu sat down thinking, "So what if I go every day?" Kim Ho continued, "Then there won't be any points left to do anything." He looked up and asked him, "Is there another way?" Kim Ho looked straight into his eyes. "Come with me to the deep dungeon area to level up." Under the table, Brother Gu's hand clenched tightly on his pants. His voice echoed by his ear. But thinking back to today's misty forest makes me hesitate a bit. Depending on the situation, this mission could be life-threatening. Do you want to go or not? Faced with Kim Ho's surprise, Hyongu said firmly, "As a martial artist, you should always want to get stronger. I've already mapped out a path for you." With determination, he pounded his chest and affirmed, "I can't refuse my benefactor, of course I accept." Seeing the resolve in him, Kim Hyun exclaimed, "Good now, don't hesitate, just burn your points and root yourself in that special mana room. I'll get you a season pass for 2 weeks. Hyongu responded without hesitation. 2 weeks is fine, I'll wait. A thought crossed his mind. While Hyongu levels up, I'll go trade items. At workshop number 4, Kim Ho gently pushed the door open and cautiously said, "Sorry." Inside the room, a figure busy working spoke up. "Who's there?" Kim Ho smiled awkwardly and greeted, "We're here because we're interested in the Magic Technology Club." The other guy carefully tapped his welding points and asked, "Then why didn't you come to workshop number 1 first?" Kim Ho explained, "I came here first. They told me to start at workshop 4. The repairman listened, but clearly annoyed, he took off his safety goggles, revealing dark circles under his eyes that showed his irritation. "Just look around and leave, we're busy, don't disturb us." Understanding the senior's busyness, Kim Ho turned and politely said, "Yes, I'll watch quietly." Watching the skilled hands handle each weld, he guessed this magic technology skill level might be the lowest rank. Before leaving, he gently placed his hand behind his back. The repairman copied the skill. He told himself the first target was accomplished. The system immediately notified that the skill was added to the magic technology B slot. Copied skill, 2 out of 2. 1 hummingbird, I2 magic technology. B. Kim Ho glanced back at the busy young man and thought the next hour's task must be somewhere around here. Suddenly, a satisfied smile appeared on his lips. Kim Ho thought to himself, "Here it is." Holding that item up, he looked bewildered and called out, "Hey, I found this, it looks valuable." The repairman recognized it as a 10 by 1 by 10 cube. He casually explains to Kim Ho that thing requires a ridiculously high skill rank, so no one ever makes it. It's just trash. Kim Ho looked at the cube with interest. "Interesting. If you don't want it, can I take it?" "Of course I'm not just going to take it." The system then displayed a notification purchased and received. Thermal reaction catalyst costing 1,000 points. Then Kim Ho smiled happily and offered an item in exchange. "You take this." He was very confident with the item in his hand. The thermal reaction catalyst isn't a top-tier item, but in magic technology it's never useless. The repairman accepted it. "Just this once, don't brag about it to others." Kim Ho cheerfully replied, "Thanks." Behind him, the repairman held up the glass bottle happily. "Nice, saved 1,000 points." Kim Ho thought with satisfaction it would be strange if he wasn't happy selling trash for 1,000 points. Looking at the system screen, he asked himself, "But is this really trash?" On the screen appeared a side quest, the cube beyond the gate. A strange cube found in the Magic Technology Workshop. The goal is to rank average or higher in the ranking test. Reward unlocks a quest chain. Seeing this, he smiled slightly, realizing the mission really was trash. Who wants to deal with such a hassle anyway? The final reward of the quest, S-rank item Life Cube. Stepping into a room, a thought came to him. I've already upgraded countless S-rank heroes. This is the Mana Room Training Center. He hugged the cube and thought silently, so I already know how to do this without needing the quest. The clock on the screen showed activation of the amplification to upgrade magic technology B to S. Duration 59 seconds. Cooldown 58 minutes 58 seconds. Kim Ho smiled with delight. Holding the cube out, he began. With each turn, the countdown clock showed a duration of 47 seconds. Kim Ho picked up a cube. On the screen, the system countdown showed duration 14 seconds. He thought to himself, at this speed, it'll be done in 3 days. After a while, the screen displayed a wireless effect deficiency notification. Downgrade magical technology from B to S. Cooldown time 58 minutes, 54 seconds. As it neared completion, he exhaled and thought time really flies. Kim Ho sat meditating in front of the cube. He silently thought that if the rank dropped, he wouldn't be able to operate the cube anymore. So he would meditate to refine his core. At this moment, the countdown timer also stopped the wireless effect. Kim Ho suddenly opened his eyes, did a 1-minute meditation adjusting the cube, then repeated. The system now displayed a notice use effect amplification for 1 minute to upgrade magical technology from B to S. He placed his hand on the cube. Purple energy swirled on the back of his hand. He told himself, I have to complete the life cube before Friday because the event will trigger then. First, looking at the sunlight slanting on the walls, he realized, it's already morning. Time to go to school. Kim Ho sat down at his desk and saw Ren. He immediately greeted her. Good morning, you're early today. She looked at him indifferently and replied, Yeah, I woke up early. Seeing the seat next to her was still empty, he wondered, Has Hyongu not arrived yet? Suddenly, Ren placed a package in front of him. Here's some cookies. Seeing it, he happily exclaimed, Oh, for me, thanks. Holding the cookie, he was delighted. Dinosaur cookies cool. At that moment, Hyongu appeared behind and called Kim Ho, brother Kim, Miss SEO, good morning. While chewing the delicious cookie, he curiously asked, You're late. How is the special mana room? Hyongu excitedly recounted, It was the first time I felt my inner strength increase so fast, like I was about to break through a realm. Hearing this, Kim Ho was delighted. Great, I'll get the earliest season ticket possible. With Kim Ho's support, Hyongu smiled softly. Thanks, brother. Meanwhile, Ren sulked and thought silently, It's not like a dinosaur at all. At that moment, Budok entered with a serious tone. Everyone settle down and take your seats. Standing on a high platform, the teacher crossed his arms with a stern face before class began. I have an announcement for you all. Starting today, we will hold one-on-one matches in the arena. Budok briefly explained the time limit has been increased to 10 minutes, so adjust accordingly. The big screen displayed the arena with a random map. Deathmatch rules. Time limit is 10 minutes. Budok outlined the rules. First years must have at least 3 one-on-one matches this week. If you want to skip, points will be deducted. You have been warned. That's all. Hearing this, Kim Ho immediately realized the teacher's intention. He slightly smirked and whispered, So it's starting. I will win this one-on-one round. After thinking for a moment, he stepped over and put his hand on Hyongu's shoulder. Let's go to the arena. The first few hits are the most valuable. Hyongu responded in kind. A small hand gently grabbed his sleeve. Okay, let's go quickly. A student looked full of anticipation. I'm free today. The others behind looked confused. He was also confused. Huh? What do you mean? After a moment to gather himself, he asked, You mean practicing mana bullet creation like the other day, right? Yeah, Dien slowly replied. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. All right, I'll see you later. Dien's expression remained emotionless as he said, That afternoon in the arena, Kim Ho and Hyongu entered. A curious voice rang out. That person is over there. Yang Ji sneered and asked, You know him? His friend was the one who surrendered before fighting the young lady. Then he shamelessly said he was a coward. I just heard recently. Hyongu angrily shouted, How can you badmouth someone to their face? Just as he was about to say more, a hand stopped him. Pathetic student Hyongu was dumbfounded. Brother Kim ignored their words. He calmly asked them, Can you rank in the competition? I scored 300 points. What about you? The other immediately started sweating. He kept a superior tone, saying 300 points. Do I have the same score as you, the swordsman? He angrily shouted. You think someone with a nickname like mine is on the same level as you. If it weren't for the twin Chunhi in round 2. Hearing that name, his tone became noticeably more excited. Then Chunhi said she remembered the person struck by lightning had to be carried off. Is that you? The veins immediately stand out on his forced, smiling face. What Ji Hun angrily pronounces each word, Fine, at least we have the same score. He arrogantly points his spear at him and bluntly says, Come down here right now, you punk. I'll show you a wall you can't get past. Immediately after a match between the two is set up. Ji Hun and Kim Ho's points are 100% and 100%. What proudly swinging his spear, just one strike and he agrees without hesitation, one hit and it's over. The referee's whistle blows and the two immediately charge at each other to start. Facing the spear directly pointed at Kim Ho, his eyes don't even bother to blink. He quietly taunts him sarcastically. "Fool, you just got hit again." The screen displays a paralysis effect. Ji Hun looks confused and asks what this is. Kim Ho raises his weapon coldly. "Sorry about that. It's not as easy as Chunhi's double hit." Ji Hun suddenly panics and stops him for about 2 seconds, but he doesn't listen. A blade slashes down and a terrible scream echoes. The big screen shows the points of Ji Hun and Kim Ho's win and loss. He shyly mocks the coward lost. "What, not satisfied? I was just careless. Fight again, I will win." He accepts the challenge without hesitation. "Is that so? Then fight again." The screen once again shows Ji Hun and Kim Ho's points at 100% and 100%. Ji Hun angrily yells, "This time won't be so easy." Then the signal sounds to start. The result shows no change in Ji Hun and Kim Ho's win and loss points. Kim Ho looks at his pathetic state and quietly asks, "How come you haven't improved at all?" Ji Hun, with wounds on his head, still scolds angrily, "Damn you." He lifts his bruised face and shouts, "This time I will win." Kim Ho immediately shouts, "Cut it out, you crazy guy." He decisively turns around. "I'm tired. That's enough for today." Kim Ho looks at the screen and worries, "I have to fight 3 matches. But the screen clearly states the weekly side quest is 1 duel. The goal is to complete 3 duels by midnight Sunday at the latest. Rewards depend on the number of wins. For now, just act like you don't have to finish it yet. At this moment, he suddenly says to Ji Hun, "If you want, I can teach you." But before that, he sits down in front of Ji Hun's tuition fee. He immediately grits his teeth and curses the villain. Still, Ji Hun firmly takes out a wooden box. "This is a spiritual medicine from my clan that I made. I'll give this to you," Kim Ho says in surprise. "That's good stuff." Kim Ho lowers his voice seriously and gives him one more condition. "Don't record this match or tell anyone about it. Only that." He obediently replies, "Okay. I don't gain anything if this leaks." Taking the box, he happily says, "Then I've got my tuition fee. I'll play until you're satisfied." After a while, the results show Ji Hun and Kim Ho's win and loss points. Looking at his battered body, "That's good enough. Well done." At this moment, Ji Hun suddenly sits up and says, "Wait! I want to apologize for my earlier rudeness." He scratches his head shyly and says, "I judged you when I only saw one side of you. You're not a coward." Kim Ho turns away casually. "No, for now, just let me be the coward." Ji Hun looks confused and asks again, "For now, be the coward." After he leaves, Ji Hun quietly says, "All right, I won't pry. I can't be the only one who has to suffer, right?" At this time, Kim Ho walks over curiously and asks, "I finished. Go Hyongu, how about you?" He happily replies, "I already won 2 matches. Looking at the system screen, I'm about to finish the 3rd match." Before leaving, Kim Ho says, "You go ahead first." Kim Ho encourages him. "Okay, do well." After a while, at Ma's training room, Kim Ho anxiously asks, "Have you been waiting long?" "Sit here." Dien casually replies, The two sit facing each other and start the first lesson about mana bullets. Kim Ho tests her current skill level by saying, "Try creating a mana bullet." He sees the mana source floating in the palm of her hand. He is quietly surprised, thinking amazing, and yet he can put Song Chun at a disadvantage, while randomly creating some mana orbs under her confused gaze. Now let's start learning how to allocate. First, use the right amount of mana for 1 bullet. Next, after some time, her scorecard shows Selzin and Waggy Cheon scores at 99% and 98%. Kim Ho sits under a mountain, his body protected by a layer of mana. He carefully calculates, to avoid the sight of a royal guard, I'll just use the environment. Digging through each sand pile would be hard, but what if there's a special eye, an abnormal mana flow among the sand piles? A thought flashes in his mind. Even if they destroy all the sand piles, they can't break my shield. Dodging the bullet that grazes him, he calmly thinks, no reason to be afraid. A marksman who can't break Song Chun's shield. He notices the protective shield shattering. The other person panics. What is that? In the distance, Jen still aims straight at the target. Bullets fly continuously. The other guy clutches his head and screams in panic. It hurts. After a struggle, the result shows Sel Jen vs Wags John with the outcome of win or lose. Scene changes to a tall building, a room still lit in the middle of the night. At this moment, a magical orb shows the image of Gion fighting. Along with that is a fleeting thought. The hummingbird's movement is very erratic. Her control has reached its peak. Teacher Budok carefully reviews everyone's matches. The second match is the same. The girl is playing with her opponent. Looking at the pile on the table, the teacher silently thinks, but that's not the only problem. In front is Chunhi's Orb Selzen's ranking card. The bullet was originally just a chunk of raw mana. At that moment, Waggy Cheon's fearful face clearly appears. It has become a complete mana bullet. A person can change so much in just 2 days. Then Budok recalls Kim Ho's words in class. You mean practicing creating mana bullets like before, right? All right, I'll meet you later. He immediately looks annoyed, seeing his face. This guy again. Looking at the always calm face, Budok wonders, who exactly is Kim Ho? At the same time, seeing the completed cube, he happily exclaims inwardly, done. Finished. Just then, the screen displays Life Cube B, increasing the life storage item effect by 1.3 times.